Hey guys, what is going on? Lego Man 123 and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be sharing my latest mock for Lego Man City, which is the Trident, and this is a seafood restaurant. Starting with the entrance, the overall theme I went for was to actually have a bunch of different plants to actually represent seaweed, like scattered across the top part as well as in plant pots to actually create that sort of underwater feeling. And as for the windows and door being in that really nice translucent blue, I definitely think it sells the idea of looking like water and definitely adds to the feel of it being a seafood restaurant. But when it came to actually coming up with a name for the seafood restaurant, I had a lot of ideas in mind. I was thinking something to do with maybe like a fish, maybe, or just calling it like a seafood restaurant. I was sort of debating different ideas, but when I thought of the idea, the Trident, I definitely thought it stands out and it definitely works really well, especially with the Trident being in like the center and like surrounded by seaweed. But turning the mock around, it does reveal two sections. The first part is the dining room area, as well as waiting at the entrance to actually get your table or book in a reservation. And then the second section is actually the kitchen area. But starting with the first section, and within this area, it does consist of two seating areas, one being a three-seater as well as a two-seater, and it looks like that couple is enjoying a lovely time together. However, I was planning to actually put another seating area in, and it was going to be around this area here. But when I actually added in the third seating area, it just looked way too cramped and just way too close to the door, and I really think that wasn't a good idea. But having two seating areas, I still think it sells the idea of it being a restaurant. As for this next section, which is the area to actually get your table, pay, and possibly book, and although it's a simple design, I definitely think it's really effective to actually sell what it's supposed to be. And as for the waitress, she does consist of two pieces from one of the collectible minifig series, but I'm not 100% sure on which series it was from. And those pieces were the torso and legs from the waitress minifig, and I just thought they worked really well for this type of mock. As for the menu, it's just a 2x3 tile of a Hogwarts acceptance letter, I believe, and I just thought it worked really well to actually represent a menu. As for the counter, it does consist of a register as well as a book to actually book in reservations. And as for this gentleman who's only just entered the Trident, it seems like he might be booking or potentially sitting down to actually enjoy a meal. Now moving on to the kitchen part of the mock. And the first part to the kitchen section is actually this part here, which not only acts as a way to separate the two sections, it also is a way to display the food and actually have the waitress collect it and give it to the customers. But as for the kitchen itself, it does consist of three sections, which is an area to store food, a stovetop, as well as a sink. And when it came to actually designing the kitchen area, this was probably the hardest part due to creating everything in a minifig scale. However, I also did have two other kitchen related items within this area, which was placed in this section here as well as over there, but it just looked way too cramped in there. And taking away those two kitchen items, I definitely think it looks a lot more spacious and just a very realistic looking design for a kitchen. And when designing each of these small builds, I kept one thing in mind, to actually use minimal pieces as possible just to keep with that minifig scale. And my favorite build out of these three would probably be the storage unit, because I used a really cool technique with the panel piece on its side, and I connected a tile as well as a plate to actually lock it into place. And I definitely think it works really well to actually store the fish and the crabs. And the stovetop also does have a pretty simple build with this little stove part, using the grill pieces to sort of create that really unique design they do have. And then it also does have some tiles, and I believe one of them is a 1x2, and also another 1x2, I believe. Yes, also another 1x2, just to sort of create the buttons you do see on like the stove tops. And I used some translucent orange pieces to sort of give that sort of like fire look. And then the build for the sink is really simple, using these pieces. Not 100% sure on like the specific name for them, but it just works really well to create a small but simple sink. So, hope you guys did enjoy this video, because I really did enjoy creating this mock and really experimenting with a number of ways to actually design specific parts to this mock. And I am really excited to add it to my city as well, because I've always wanted to have a restaurant within Lego Man City. And with this mock complete, this could quite possibly be one of the biggest mocks I've made, as well as one of the biggest mocks for my city that I have made. But as always, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I can see you. Goodbye!